This show is brought to you by Victor Naraki Realtor, experienced real estate agent serving Disney and the greater Orlando area of celebratingflorida.com. Have you ever dreamed of living where the magic happens? Victor Naraki has made that dream come true for himself and others. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. If you're looking to buy or sell in the Orlando area, here's why Victor is the realtor you'll want in your corner. Victor knows the Disney area like the back of his house. By creating a free, no-obligation account on his website, celebratingflorida.com, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Is it time to follow your dream? Victor is looking forward to helping you discover the real estate opportunities that are right for you in this beautiful and fun-filled part of Florida. Visit celebratingflorida.com today or view Victor's view at victorsvista.com and let Victor know the Solo Show sent you.
Let's put on the show.
My goodness, you're all staring at us. We better start the show rolling.
Broadcasting from the Solo Studios, where he keeps the secret of the gummy berry juice near Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the center of North America and on this little planet we call Earth, this is the Solo Show. On this adventure, Stan welcomes Kimberly Bouchard to the guest host chair. Author of the Positively Disney book series, hear how the Disney experience has influenced so many people and how they have had amazing life experiences with Disney. So now, please welcome your host, bouncing here and there and everywhere, high adventure that's beyond compare. Here's Stan Solo.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Solo Show. I am Stan Solo as always, and I am here with a great friend of mine, Kimberly Bouchard. You may know her from the Positively Disney book series. She also has a podcast that's on the Twitch, and I think it's on the same time on YouTube, on Facebook as well. Kimberly Bouchard, the amazing person. Welcome to the show, Kimberly. How are you?
Thanks, Dan. I'm great. How are you doing today?
I am amazing, but you already knew that. I got to stop saying that. People get mad at me. Let's talk a little bit about the Positively Disney book series. I know I've talked to you before about it, but some of our listeners might not know. What exactly are they about?
Sure. Well, there's 5 of the series, and I've just finished interviewing for book 6 and in the middle of interview for book 7. So these are heartwarming stories from the actors, from the Imagineers, from the artists, from guests, fans, cast members about how Disney impacted their lives. And they're very profound stories about what, different things that have happened to people and how they got to be where they are at as an artist or an actor, and that. Think kind of Chicken Soup for the Soul, but amped up like Disney. And then the 5th one was Star Wars. The 7th one is going to be another Star Wars edition.
Ooh,
and I'm interviewing a guy from The Mandalorian on Monday, so I'm pretty excited about that. And
nice.
Yeah. So I've got book 6 on deck here to start writing now, and it's just a lot of fun.
And I love your books because they really take you through an emotional roller coaster because of like a story that's like really not so much sad but inspirational, and then you got one that's super funny. It's a great read. So you can pick those up where? Amazon, I'm guessing?
Yeah, you can pick them up on Amazon. You can order them into any local bookstore. Amazon is probably the easiest to do, and if you want a special signed copy, just reach out to me at Kimberly at positivelydisney.com or positivelydisneybook.com. You can find me in a lot of different places, but when you say about the emotional roller coaster, I mean, we are emotional people. We experience everything, and I think one of the things that I found, even writing the books, because I cry when I write, and I actually sometimes cry when I'm interviewing because it hits our heart to the core, and it takes me a while to organize them because I don't want people crying throughout the whole book, but and even though there's some sadness to some of the stories. There's mostly amazing things that have come out of something that maybe was tragic, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, and they're a great read because I'm not a big reader, but they're like short chapters, like little short stories, which that's the type of book I like to read. Is little short chapters and stories. And I was going through kind of finding ones that looked interesting and reading it, and then finding another one that looked interesting. And Kimberly says, "No, don't do that. Read them in order. That's how you're supposed to read the book."
Oh yeah, because exactly. My mom, oh my gosh, it took I think book 4 before she actually listened to me to just read one, right from the beginning, because it will affect you in a different way. I try to ease you into those ones that you might like get to your heart,
Yeah,
so but
sure. And then you also have the podcast that you do, and you do that live. You have call-ins and stuff. When is that happening? Are you back up with that?
Well, I'm officially starting my 4th season in September, and I actually just got accepted onto Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, and iTunes, and it was already put on YouTube. So I was pretty excited about that. I think there's a few other things that places you can listen to it. And I did actually have 2 summer specials on as well with one of the author, and he's a film producer and stuff. I interviewed him in July and then in August. But I've been traveling so much. I've been to Disney 3 times this summer. And so I've had actually a busier summer than I thought I would have normally. And I mean, in these abnormal times, I had no idea, but I'll tell you, as soon as I was able to, I was like out the door and let's have some fun,
Yeah. Well, you definitely had a more busier summer than I had. I can tell you that much. So we're going to talk about your recent trip. You just came back from Walt Disney World. You also visited NASA. I'm not sure if we're going to have time to touch on that or not.
Yeah.
But I'm continuing with our series of how the parks are post-COVID. So I'd like to touch mostly on Disney Hollywood Studios and how that experience was for you. Now, when did you go exactly?
Well, we were in Florida for 60 days. So we were August 11th to the 26th. And it included 2 resort stays at Disney, 9 park days. We did 7 on the front end and 2 on the back end. And we were so excited to be able to go back the last 2 park days. Those were bonus days for us. We didn't expect to be going back, but we just couldn't get enough,
I saw that. And you were able to get like reservations those 2 park days?
Reservations were super easy. I mean, I got them just day before. They've opened up reservations. It's a lot easier to get in. The parks, I mean, during the week, they're not, I think it's easier to get into a park during the week, to be honest with you. It's quieter, of course. I mean, no matter what park you go to, if you're going on a weekend, it's still going to be busier than what you might expect. And Hollywood Studios, apart from Fantasyland and Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios we found the busier park of the 4.
Okay. So we'll talk about that. I wanted to start off because you're in Seattle, and obviously you didn't drive to Walt Disney World. I'm guessing you probably flew.
Well, yes and no. The first time I went to Walt Disney World, I just went to Disney Springs. That was before the park had opened, but Disney Springs had opened. So we flew and then we drove back to Seattle because we brought our motorhome back. And then the rest of my Disney trips to downtown Disney in California, I flew, of course. And then this trip, we flew, of course.
So how is it flying these days? Because not too many people are flying from what I understand.
You know what? I think it's probably the best time to fly ever. If anybody has ever questioned flying and cleanliness, it's the cleanest you will ever find it. Now, I think it also depends on what airline you fly with as far as numbers flying on your plane, because we mostly fly Delta in Alaska, but I do know there's a few other airlines that cram people in. For ours, we had a seat between us. We had often rows, and definitely seats behind us, in front of us, empty. they do disinfect the whole plane, which, I mean, I think they should have been doing that for years. We're world travelers, you know,
Yeah,
we've
no kidding.
always, you know, been at the whim of whatever, but they give you a hand sanitizing packet to clean your, you know, your seatbelt area, your tabletop and stuff like that, which, as I said, as a world traveler, we always did that anyway. So they're always doing that. They're not you don't get food on the plane. So anybody that's flying, bring your own lunch. Like, I actually had to do that. And what they will do on Delta, they'll give you a plastic bag with a little water bottle, a granola bar, and maybe some Cheez-Its, and again, a hand wipe. But they don't serve anything else. So you guys, you know, just pack yourself a lunch, buy your drinks or whatever at, you know, once you get to the airport. So yeah. And and you know, those little in the Disney stores, you know, you can buy those little non-disposable bags. I'll tell you, everywhere I went, I bought some because they're perfect size. So for bringing and carrying your lunch onto the planes, you know.
You know what I use for my lunch bag? Actually, I use it's one of those bigger bags from the Disney store.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But I take that to work every day. It's a big Disney bag. But
there you go.
But I have 2 water bottles in there. I got some earbuds. I got my lunch. I got an apple, an orange. I have my sunglasses. I have a lot of things in there. It's like my briefcase. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, basically like a briefcase for me. But yeah, it's funny that you mentioned I use a Disney bag for your lunch bag. So how about at the airport itself? I'm hearing like a lot of the shops and the little restaurants and all that are closed as well. Like for myself, I would have to lay over. Like there's no way. And usually when I lay over, I get lunch like Minneapolis or Chicago, something like that.
Right. You know what? There are a lot of places that are closed, but you will still find restaurants available.
Okay.
We had no problem at all. I mean, when we were flying back from Texas, not everything was open, but there was still a really nice barbecue that you could get, and you could get other types of food if you wanted. But there are, you know, there are still places closed. Some of the I'm trying to think about in the airport the shops, because it's not the actually the Disney store at the airport is completely closed. So if you forget those little goodies or whatever, you will not be able to get them from the store. As well, if you plan on getting the things that are in the outlet store, as far as the Disney store, that is also not open. Which I was really surprised. I was very surprised. But
what about the Universal store? Was that one open?
That was open. It was open.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Those Universal guys.
You know, but it was a very interesting comparison, because we did go to Universal as well. And I like some of the things they did at Universal, and wish Disney could implement some of those things as well. And
you were mentioning that they actually spray your hands for you,
right?
At Universal,
right. So, I mean, there are tons of hand sanitizing stations all over the Disney parks. I don't think those are going to go away at all, ever again, to be honest with you. They had hand sanitizing stations in Universal, but they would not allow you on the attraction unless they personally sprayed your hands. And for me, I'm like, I just finished washing my hands, or just finished sanitizing, but no, I had to get their sanitizer too, you know, which, you know, it was like, oh God, my hands are clean, but I get it. And, you know, but it was nice to know that that everybody's hands prior to that were being sanitized before going on a ride. But both parks were very good about sanitizing the attractions, and it can sometimes add to a wait if you are going like in an afternoon for trying to get on a particular ride. You will have to wait just because the numbers are increasing, but they also take the time to sanitize the rides. So you have to take that into consideration.
So you said you stayed at 2 resorts while you were at Walt Disney World. Where did you stay when you were there?
Well, the first one we'd never been to before, and I thought it'd be kind of cool because it was right by the Skyliner. Literally, the Skyliner was right outside our door at the Caribbean Beach Hotel. So we stayed there. It was interesting. Just as I was going to go sit by the pool, they closed it down to sanitize the pool. So I never, ever got into a pool. I only got into the ocean. But, and in reflection, I'm thinking, you know, probably I'd want to stay out of the pools just because, you know, I have no idea what people are having. But, you know, The
That just adds
Skyliner,
some extra chlorine. Everything. Will be
yeah,
fine.
yeah, I know. But we decided to do the Skyliner in the evening, just to ride it, just for a nice sunset ride as soon as we ride.
Mhm.
But we actually chose not to use any of the transportation. We had our
Okay.
own car. We had free parking because the Skyliner is all wonderful and great. But if you have a storm, then you're stuck.
Mhm.
You do not. Are at the whim of a bus that will only take a certain number of people. The buses, the boats from the different resort boats, not the big ferry, but the big resort boats,
Yep.
all had partitions in them, plasticized partitions, or like the buses had plasticized partitions. The boats had spots that you could sit on. You could not stand. They didn't have the front part open. I mean, it was very limited seating. So I just like, you know what? We just want to get to the parks early, and thank goodness we did, because that helped our cause when we wanted to get onto those special rides at Hollywood Studios or whatever,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The resort itself, did you notice anything different in the room?
So
From past
yeah, they don't do housekeeping, and we didn't know about that until after the fact. We thought they had missed our room completely.
trips? It was everyone's room.
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking about after the staying, not when you got there.
During, no.
It was clean when you got there.
Yeah. And they even, so they didn't have the individual cleaning, like the soap and stuff like that they used to have. They had them all in large bottles glued to the shower, and they would have a little plastic thing on. Well, I was just there. I wasn't there that long ago, and like last June, and we still had stuff. So I don't know.
Individual still there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But that's a DVC resort, is it not? So I thought
it is.
So they don't have the individual there.
No, and they had the like a little plasticized piece that went across all three and said this has been sanitized.
Okay.
But yeah, so we started at the Caribbean Beach. We had to do a sort of a self check-in, if you will. They gave us on the app, you could unlock your door. They would assign. It was a little bit. We were kind of led to believe, because it said that we were going to be assigned our room the day of. And we were like 20 minutes away, and we still hadn't been assigned our room, because they don't want you going to the desk. Although magic bands were there, so you still had to go. And I thought, okay, fine. I had to call to get a room number, and they finally gave me my room number. And when I went to unlock my door, it didn't unlock. So that was a bit of a pain in the butt, after a long day, and all your luggage is outside and it's hot, and then we had to go to the front, and then it was just somebody that would happen to be doing surveys or whatever happened to check me in instead. So that was a little interesting. I had to ask for a map. I'd never been to that resort before. I had no idea where anything was.
Yeah.
So I to be honest with you, I don't like that. I don't like that. I thought it was very impersonal. They didn't have to do that, because the other theme park that I stayed at, it was not a self check-in. You checked in with a person. They even checked your temperature before being able to go in. And I would have preferred Disney to do a temp check for people going into the resort too.
Yeah.
And then, we had a wristband at the other park and that. Another thing that I wanted to tell you that, as I said, I just wish that Disney could have implemented some of this, but when I checked into the other resort at Universal later in our stay, they actually gave me texting privileges. I could ask for towels, I could ask anything, and they would pretty much immediately answer my question or put me onto a reservation or
nice.
whatever.
That is really
nice.
Yeah.
Because I was totally lost. I mean, I've been to Walt Disney World, I would say probably 75 times, 80 times. And I felt very lost when I got to Caribbean Beach. And so anyways, I think Disney could have done better there. However, when I wanted to change resorts, I don't know about you. Do you have, Pop is your kind of your home,
the
right?
Solo Studios is what I call it.
Okay. But have you stayed at any other resort and it just doesn't feel right?
The only place I've ever stayed was Riverside, which used to be where I would go, and then I got outpriced for Riverside, so I started going to Pop.
Okay, so we have stayed at just about all the resorts, just about, and that's why I thought, Caribbean Beach. I love parts of the Caribbean. The pool looks so fantastic.
It's got to be.
So I just really want to get back to the cabins at Fort Wilderness, and I must say that they were very accommodating. The cast members at Caribbean Beach were very accommodating. They just made sure everything was organized for me to get over there. We packed up our own stuff, brought it over. At that time, I'd had a big vase of roses, and so I had to bring them to the cabins. And they before we could get into our cabin, they kept our stuff for us and that. So that was kind of nice.
So they kept the big vase of roses for you?
They did, yeah, they did, nice. Yeah.
Now, hey, did the cabins have the pumps, or did they have the individual soaps?
They had the pumps too, which is very unusual.
So I'm guessing that's going right across.
Yes,
I did see a video of somebody recently. They stayed at the Treehouse Villas, and it was still individual.
Okay,
and same thing at Copper Creek. They had
really?
Individual ones there as well.
Yeah, I think it's kind of something they're going to be
implementing,
for full time. Which is fine, and it's nice because you don't really run out. And it's the good stuff. It's the good stuff.
It is. I like using a bar of soap though. Is something that I prefer to use.
Yeah.
So I always have to ask for a bar of soap every time.
Really?
Yeah. They still give them to me. I asked for two. I asked for one for the shower and one for the sink.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think there is one already for the sink always. Still get a bar for the sink, I believe.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So I always ask for an extra one for the shower.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. So Disney Hollywood Studios is where we're going to today. Now, have you been to? Obviously, you've done Galaxy's Edge or Smuggler's Run, rather. I'm assuming.
I've done it actually in both parks, both Disneyland and Walt Disney World.
Yeah. So how about Rise of Resistance? Have you done that one before?
Well, I did this time, but it was interesting. So we had our car and we left an hour ahead of time because we wanted to be in line, and we were the first. The police and the sheriff and all that were lined up at the ticket gate there. There was half a dozen of them. Stan, there were half a dozen of them, and everybody had to pull over to the side of the road. You couldn't even go into the lane yet, and then they would allow you to go a little further, so then people started lining up. It was so strange. And then we went through.
How early were you there?
So it opened at 9. I mean, all these parks are opening later in the day, so that one, I think it opened at 9, and we were there at 8:30.
Geez, they should. I'm shocked they don't let you in at that point.
Yeah, no, because what would happen, and I saw this when Galaxy's Edge first opened, when we were there before, we had to have a reservation. That the cast members in the park themselves had a human chain, and they would go back, right? So it was kind of the same thing with the cars. So they would let you come in with the cars, and you could drive maybe 100 or 200 feet, and then you'd have to stop. They'd have more barricades, and it was like that all the way there until they parked you. Now they also park you every second car.
I saw that. I don't understand that.
And
are they afraid that the cars are going to get COVID? Like what?
No.
6 feet apart between the cars.
Yeah, no. Once they line everybody up, then the new cars can go in and take that. They just don't want people getting in and out side by side at the same time.
That seems silly. I mean,
I
don't get that one. But okay. I mean, how often do you go to the mall and you're getting into your car and somebody's getting in at the same time as you?
No, that doesn't happen at all. But
I saw that they do that at Disney Springs as well. They have a spot. Yeah.
Well, you know what? When I was in Disney Springs, though, and downtown Disney, we didn't park like that. It was just mainly at the parks.
Okay.
So I'm not too sure what that was about. But also, actually, on the planes, they started seating people from the back. Even though we're Sky Priority and Diamond and that level, we didn't get on until pretty much the end because we were.
That's how it should have been years ago. It should have always been from the back. I never understood that.
And I can see them keeping it that way, to be honest with you.
Because I'd be the person going to the back of the plane, and I got the person like the 30 people in front of me, all tying up, putting their, just let me go to the back. I could put my, it makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah. But anyways, Hollywood Studios. So
yes,
yeah, it was. I mean, and then we got in, and we actually all the parks that we went in, we got in before they opened. So
nice.
They're all, for some reason, I don't know, they're all open like by 8:30 or something like that.
Yeah. But they're not running anything though. I mean, they're probably
they
selling.
are. No, they are.
Ride attractions
they
are going and stuff. Oh,
they
okay.
are. Not maybe 30 minutes ahead of time,
Yeah.
but a good 15 minutes ahead of time.
Okay.
You know, I was quite surprised to see
they've been doing that for a while because I'm a rope drop person and I'll get there early and things are open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not always like the big attractions wouldn't be open yet, but the smaller ones would be open. And of course, Starbucks is selling stuff early.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know, something that I learned my lesson in January, Disneyland, even though they open early, it's not really open. Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
And the restaurants are open, but you can't get onto any of the attractions.
Yeah.
And that was extra magic hours.
I had
that. So the extra magic hours is not getting on the attractions at Disneyland. It's getting into the restaurants and the shops on Main Street.
I had the extra magic hours at Disneyland. Sorry, we're off topic, but that's fine.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And Peter Pan's flight was open and like Fantasyland was open and Tomorrowland was open, but nothing in Adventureland was open and of course Galaxy's Edge wasn't open. And, and you're paying for the extra magic hour. Like,
I know.
That's what I wanted it for, was for Galaxy's Edge.
I know.
And they make you line up. But I mean, you get to get in first because everyone else lines up that didn't have extra magic hours.
Yeah.
At the end of the line.
You know, when I said Hollywood was probably the busiest, obviously because of Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Railway.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get there first thing in the morning. You want to get that done right away because you will have to line up. Yeah, you know, it's a faster lineup. But you're still, you know, there's probably about 60, 70 people outside lined up in the heat, you know, when we went by. But the only time you could get into Rise of the Resistance, and I'm not sure if that was always like that, but there was 2 opportunities at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And you had to join the virtual queue. Now,
so if you get in for the 10 a.m. one, are you still eligible to try again for the 2 p.m. one?
Yes.
So you can ride it twice in one day, technically.
Yes, sure. Good luck with that.
No.
So, you know, the thing is, though, is that there was 3 of us. We had been at 10 minutes to the hour. We were ready to join. Mm-hmm. None of us could get into the 10 a.m. one. We're like, what the heck? This is ridiculous. Like, what is going on here that we couldn't get in? We're like, okay, well, we got another try at it. So, yeah. And so what happened is one of our sons decided to get on at like 1:59. Now, this is where it got interesting because he got in, it said all set, and then we were bounced out, and I just about hit the roof. I'm like, what? So I said, okay, I'm going to get to the bottom of this because we were all set. We just weren't given a boarding number. So I went to guest services and I said, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if there was a glitch in the app, to be honest with you, because we should have got on it at the 10 a.m. one. There aren't that many people there. I mean, it's a little more crowded than the other parks, but there still wasn't that many people at Disney. And, you know, I explained that it had said all set. And just as we were going to get our number, we were bounced out. And he was really decent and got us a number. And we got in, I think, within half an hour later, we were on. Oh, my gosh.
Isn't it amazing?
We had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what was going to pop out of the doors. I mean, they don't break character at all, which was so fun. It was so fun. We almost went back to Hollywood Studios just to have another chance at Rise, but when you get 2 bonus days on the end, you don't want to risk, you know, that one attraction for a whole day at Disney.
Especially when there's no hopping.
Yeah, exactly. So, but no, it was absolutely fantastic. And it was so cool that similar technology for Rise was used for the Runaway Railway, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. We thought that was really cool.
Oh, with the trackless system, you mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
I liked that idea.
Ratatouille is going to be like that as well.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of different things kind of moving that way. I think it just makes it more real, really. It's really fun. And I know that I know Rise of the Resistance, as I said, I liked it better than Smuggler's Run, to be honest with you, because
it's 100 times better.
I felt like I was immersed in the Star Wars story.
Yeah.
I really did. And the Runaway Railway, I have to say, it was better than what I thought it would be. I still miss the movie ride. I'm a bit nostalgic like that. I think they could have just added more movies or whatever, because I don't like to forget about all those classics. But I thought the way they introduced the attraction at the beginning was very, very clever. And I don't want to ruin it for people, but it was very clever and it was very cute. It went much faster than the movie ride. It was not as long an attraction time as the movie ride. But no, Rise of the Resistance. Everybody.
You can't have a runaway railroad and go slow.
No.
Makes sense.
No. But going back to Rise of the Resistance, everybody has seen the photos of the AT-ATs there above you. I just wish I could have taken a photo of that. It was just like, oh my gosh. It was
like, if there's an attraction I want to break down on, that's the one. Because I want to be able to take good quality photos everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to break down. I don't know. There's very little that I can see breaking down on.
I've heard of it having problems here and there for people.
Initially, like anything, they had to get the glitches out. But I don't know. I mean, I wonder how easy it will be to get on to that, because any Star Wars fan is going to want to do that over and over and over again. Yeah. Really.
My plan was, like, before all this happened, for my next trip was every single morning I was going to go to Hollywood Studios, get a boarding pass. And then hop to whichever park I wanted to, and then come back to do my boarding pass. That's what my plan was.
Oh, yeah.
But that's gone out the window.
Well, you know what? And I wonder if you would be knocked out of the queue if you left the park.
No, you can leave and come back. We did that actually, because we had a very late boarding pass. We went back for a nap.
Oh,
I
good.
checked the app once in a while. I went back to the park and we did our
Okay, that's good, because they know when you're in the park, because you can't book a boarding pass until you're in the park.
But you don't log out when you leave. Like, you're not scanning.
No.
But they know.
Yeah, they know everything.
Yeah.
But so and a lot of the attractions were closed in Hollywood Studios, so that is just a one day. That was just a 1 day park for us.
Yeah. So is Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular going?
It's closed. No, it's closed.
And Ariel's Adventure. The show, the Broadway show.
No, that's closed. The
all the meet and greets are closed.
Yes. The sing along, which is really fun, that's closed.
Okay. Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, that's closed. But what they had instead, which was really cool, is they had the Disney Orchestra there.
Oh, okay, so that's still going.
Yeah, they had the orchestra there, and then they had the characters from Beauty and the Beast join at the end. So that was kind of nice. Yeah. Okay. It was nice. And you didn't have to get there ahead of time at all. You could just kind of walk in, but it was a nice touch, I thought.
Were they playing like Pixar music and different Disney songs and stuff?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I like orchestra music.
We do too. Yeah. And it was just a nice kind of surprise, really.
I think I would prefer that actually over the Beauty and the Beast show, to tell you the truth.
Well, we like the live performances everywhere. I mean, I really miss The Lion King. I mean, we're not in that right part, but I really miss The Lion King. Yeah. And one thing that they did also I have to tell you, at Epcot. So normally all the live shows were actually at the American Gardens Theater Pavilion. They were not out of the pavilions. They were put on the stage, like the Mariachi Cobre, the janitors, the drummers and that. But so that was kind of nice in Hollywood Studios to be able to see that. The not all the restaurants were open in Hollywood Studios. The Brown Derby was open, and the I don't even know. I don't think Sci-Fi Diner was even open. But there's a character dining just when you walk. You walk in the first left on Main Street, right by the Primetime Diner. that was not open at all.
Oh,
the
yeah.
dinosaur, like that dinosaur canteen, that wasn't open at all.
That thing's never open. That Gertie's,
Okay.
that's never.
So, and everything was mobile order. So if you were thirsty, initially it was a bit annoying for me because it meant I had to go on my app, I had to do a mobile order, I had to, all that stuff. And I'm thirsty. It's like, it's going to take me longer to order a drink than to even just go up and get a drink. But actually, the mobile ordering worked out well because it actually went faster. You didn't have to wait in line for anybody. Even the blue milk, you had to order that way. There was nobody in line, but yet mobile order.
I did not know
everything.
that. Okay.
Yeah, everything. Okay. And if you had an issue, like sometimes it wouldn't work for you. It just didn't work. But there were people standing by.
The mobile ordering. That's like my number one secret is the mobile ordering. And now I'm worried that when things go back to normal, everyone's going to be liking the mobile ordering.
Well, the thing is,
it won't be as special anymore.
Yeah, and I mean they did the mobile ordering because of COVID, obviously.
Yeah,
but there was when there's nobody there lining up. It's kind of like, what? However, in the over-the-counter things at the different countries in Epcot, it wasn't mobile ordering. It went right up.
Yeah.
And Animal, was it Animal too? I think it was. Yeah, you could just go right in there and order. So it wasn't consistent.
Yeah.
At all.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Woody's Lunchbox would have been mobile ordering 100%.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that I don't think so much Hollywood Studios, but the other parks. How were they being that empty?
I have to say, when I'm at Disney, I like the hustle and bustle. I don't prefer crowds that I've experienced at New Year's Eve and stuff like that, but I like the hustle and bustle. So I did find it a bit eerie, to be honest with you. Magic Kingdom, everybody was in Fantasyland, and nobody was on Main Street. Nobody was at the castle. Kind of defeats
the purpose of limiting how many people if you're going to limit the lands.
I know, exactly. It was, I found it a bit odd. Now, I do have to say that it was nice not to have our fast passes running our vacation. It was nice to be able to walk on. But again, I tell people that they need to go in the morning if they want those walk on attractions, because in the afternoon you will have to wait.
Yeah.
You have no choice. Yeah.
It's funny you say eerie, because when I watch these videos that people are posting on YouTube and whatnot, I feel eerie watching those. Like, people are walking down Main Street and there's like another couple over there and that's it. And I'm like, that is kind of creepy almost.
It brings back to mind Avengers, when they all kind of float away.
Yeah, that's what it must feel like. Yeah,
and it's like, where's half the people here? They're not.
Yeah,
here.
It's like exactly half the population at Disney World disappeared.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I have to tell you, one thing that I noticed that I thought was a bit odd as well, and a good odd. So the Legacy Award is an award that is awarded to cast members from their peers. It's a very highly esteemed award, and they wear the blue badge.
Blue name tag, yes.
I saw over a dozen blue tags my normal trip would maybe be one or two.
Yeah.
I actually lost count after a while. Probably there was more.
So are they just handing these out like
Halloween candy? No.
Or are they the only ones working?
See, that's it. So not everybody got called back. Not everybody got called back. So, but I will say, I always found cast members friendly, but everybody was welcome to, a special, the attraction. They'd welcome you to the attraction. They'd thank you. Theater, they thank you for joining you. That's kind of a standard saying, but everybody was very welcoming and thank you for joining. The only place that they didn't is Haunted Mansion. They stayed in character.
Yeah.
Right. But and even what I found is, sometimes you'll see a cast member walking or whatever, and they're kind of going off to whatever on break or whatever. I'd say every single cast member greeted us with a hello. How are you doing today?
That's how it used to be.
They were so happy to be back.
Yeah,
everybody was happy.
20 years ago, that's kind of how it was. Like it just, and it seems over the years that slipped. So it's great to get this reboot almost.
Well, and we'd see like half a dozen of the skippers at the end of the dock, and normally you would see them just kind of chatting or whatever amongst themselves. all of them were waving at you. Hi, how are you doing? Welcome.
Oh,
Have
that's
a
so
great
nice.
day. It
Yeah.
was nice. It was nice.
Yeah.
There was definitely that gratitude in the air for every single guest, and it was not lost on us that it was a real privilege to be there, be it a cast member or a guest.
That's amazing. Did you go to Muppet Vision 3D?
We did. Yes, we
Now,
did.
I am hearing from people that at the end when Sweetums comes out,
Mm-hmm.
he's no longer doing that. Is that true? Is he back? Was there the person I talked to? Is it just a one-day event? Maybe Sweetums was sick.
I don't know.
Do you remember seeing Sweetums at the end coming out with his flashlight? And
Yes, actually, he did.
okay,
He came out twice. Now that I think of it, he came out twice, and there was another one I thought, I don't remember him coming out again. Normally he wouldn't come out a couple of times, but yes, he was there. Mm-hmm.
okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. What I was hearing was that the Sweetums was actually a acting character, and they were still not called back yet.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, there were a lot of characters.
Yeah,
in
that's what didn't make sense to me because there are characters out.
Yeah. With a barricade or whatever.
Yeah. Right,
Right.
yeah, because I was told that because you know how like the entertainers aren't back.
Right. Yeah.
And he said that Sweetums was an entertainer, and that's why he wasn't called back.
Right.
So but it could have been just that one day he missed that one show, or he.
And
sick or something.
there were a lot of shorter parades out.
Mm-hmm.
We noticed with the dancers and parades.
Yeah.
So they're coming back on the stages themselves, like at American Gardens Theater. The performers were there instead of in the streets. But yeah, and they always you had to leave 3 seats between your parties in any of the theaters that were open.
Okay. Yeah.
They I guess that was equal to 6 feet.
Now, I did ask you to check out before you left on this trip because I knew you were going to come on the show. I'm hearing that Stacy is no longer showing the must-dos in the resorts.
No, not at all.
Were you able to find out why, or is it just, as far as you know, they're not showing it?
Well, the must-dos in the resorts aren't happening.
Okay.
So, they had no movies. The only place that I saw that they had sort of like a little craft session thing going on was actually at Meadow Creek at the
No, I'm sorry. I
pool.
meant on the TV. On the TV when you put
right.
on the TV.
No, but it's telling about what to do around the resorts, right? Resorts
no, it tells you what to do all over the parks, at the parks.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking resorts. No. Resorts, parks.
Yeah, but
no.
it's shown in the resorts.
Yeah, no, there was absolutely nothing. She was not on there at all.
Okay. I wonder why. I'm not sure if it's because I've heard 2 stories. I've heard one is that because a lot of the things on that channel are no longer running, and I've also heard because the people on that channel aren't wearing masks when they're in the parks.
Right.
They didn't want to show that, and they tell you have to wear a mask when you get there. I don't know which one is.
Well, I think it would be more that they aren't running. The things aren't running, so they're not going to get your hopes up and going. Everybody going on property knew you had to wear a mask anyway, so I don't think they'd expect to see her or anybody else in a mask. But I think it was because they're not. They weren't running. Yeah. But the brochures.
That's what I was going to get to next. Okay, the brochures.
Yes.
Are changed in the room.
Yes, very much so. So, do you want me to show the one?
Well, they can't see, but we can talk about it.
Yeah. So the little kind of your take along guide to the magic. Well, I opened it up and just about was just shocked because there's people in masks. And what I noticed that there were several pages with people in masks, and the only time they had photos of people not in masks is eating. So if they were sitting and having a snack, they had no mask. If they were sitting at a restaurant, they had no mask. So there were several photos without masks, but they were all eating. So they made it very clear to you that you need a mask, but if you're eating, you do not need a mask.
Yeah. I thought that was amazing when you were talking about that they changed it. And that's for people that aren't quite following what we're talking about. There's a little book you get in your resort room, and it kind of tells you about things that are happening around the park.
Right.
So I thought it was really interesting that they went through the trouble of changing at it. It's kind of creepy, but kind of good in a way.
Well, it's definitely a souvenir for the future.
Yeah, for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Any final things you wanted to touch on?
You know what? I just want to tell people to go out there and just enjoy. You're safe. You're safe to travel. You're safe to visit. I feel so bad for everybody that can't get to the U.S., of course, because the borders are still closed. But, go out and enjoy life, for crying out loud. Life is too short. You will be fine. I have traveled extensively in all probably the highest COVID cases around all summer long. You're safe. You'd be smart. Just wash your hands, and wear your mask where you need to, and you'll be absolutely fine. And have fun. Life is for enjoying, not to be fearful.
Yeah, and be smart about it too. I mean, if you're
absolutely,
you have to do what's best for you and your family too. If you're
of course.
If you have issues, underlying issues, or over a certain age, be smart.
Right, of course, yeah.
So that's great. So we could check up the Positively Disney books at Amazon, or you can contact Kim at thepositivelydisney.com if you want to get an autographed copy of the book, which I have. And you got her podcast. It's available pretty much anywhere you get normal podcasts.
Yeah.
Is it Positively Disney? Is that the name of the podcast?
Yes.
Nice. Yeah. So that's something for you to check out, is her podcast and her book. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show. This was great.
Thanks, Dan, for having me. Always fun to talk with you.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. So I want to remind everyone, be safe, be friendly, and Ken, take us away. Take us out of here. Ken, take it away.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to take your turn in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. Tell us your idea for the show, and we'll contact you about a date and a time for you to join us. If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. All logos, sounds, and songs that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned solely by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be, the ownership of The Solo Show podcast. We hope you'll join us for the next adventure on The Solo Show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.